This is kind of interesting as well. So these are 3 defensive candidates to replace Joe Woods, according to Dog Pound Daily. Number 3, Mike Zimmer, former head coach of the Vikings when Kevin Stefanski was there. He was also a really good defensive coordinator with both the Bengals and the Cowboys, and he has a history. Number 2, Vic Fangio. He is currently a defensive analyst for the Philadelphia Eagles. In his first year was also a former head coach. And number 1, the aforementioned Brian Flores. Of the 3, I kind of like Zimmer just because of the connection to Kevin Stefanski. What I would like to see the Browns do, and I said this yesterday, I'd like to see them get the Bill Callahan on the defensive side of the ball, if you will. Somebody that's been a head coach that is a little bit older and doesn't really have head coaching aspirations again, that wants to run the defense and is there as a resource for Kevin Stefanski.
Absolutely. I think they need to find their own Leslie Frazier. We've seen, what kind of impact he's had on the Bills defense. Same with Steve Spagnuolo of the Kansas City Chiefs. I know that, Kansas City hasn't always had a good defense, but Spagnuolo, I think, has done a good job in key situations with that defense. And I agree with you. Of those 3, I think Zimmer would be the one that I think would be the most likely, again, because of the Stefanski connection. And you bring up a good point. Does Mike Zimmer really want to be a head coach again? Or could he just go to Cleveland, and coach under a guy that he knows very well in Kevin Stefanski? To me, just connecting the dots, it would make a lot of sense because we've seen just how good of a defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer has been everywhere he's gone. I mean, we saw the defense, after he came in for Marvin Lewis as the defensive coordinator in Cincinnati. Under Marvin Lewis in Cincinnati, we saw the Bengals really become a really talented defense. So that would be a good area, I think, a good place to look for as far as the defensive coordinator goes. I don't know where they're going to go for. We still got weeks before we even really get into the NFL hiring cycle for, head coaches, defensive coordinators, you name it. But I agree, there's got to be a change at that position. And, they got to find a pretty good guy who can, rally this defense together, inspire them, create a good scheme, and really get them to play with some toughness, which are things I said that Joe Woods just has not been able to do this season.
Yeah, and an added footnote with Zimmer, he's currently the defensive analyst for Jackson State for Deion Sanders, who was one of his DBs when he was DB coach back in Dallas. So there are histories there where he would be willing to do that with a guy that he's connected with, like Kevin Stefanski.